She is not smiling because she is happy. She is smiling because she is measuring you. Right now, without a word, without a hint, she is running a test you do not even know exists. No raised voice, no obvious challenge. Just her presence, her eyes on you, her body language tuned like a scalpel in the hands of a surgeon. One move, one glance, one tiny crack in your frame, and in her mind, it is over. You won't see the moment she decides you are no longer the man she thought you were. You will feel it weeks later, when the warmth fades, the calls slow, the touches get shorter, and she is already halfway gone without ever announcing her exit. It's a test most men fail without realizing they were even being graded, and the failure is silent, no warning, no feedback. Just a subtle shift in how she looks at you, a shift you cannot undo. Machiavelli warned that the battle is lost before it is fought. In politics, that means your position collapses in the planning stage. In relationships, it means the battle is won or lost in these hidden, surgical moments. Moments she designs to reveal who you really are when you think you are safe. This is the part no one tells you. These tests are not random. They are evolutionary, psychological, and strategic. They have been running for centuries, long before dating apps, before text messages, before modern life even existed. A woman does not need to raise her voice to challenge you. Her greatest weapon is subtlety. That's why the most dangerous tests are not the obvious ones. They are not the arguments, the ultimatums, or the dramatic blow-ups. They are the quiet ones, the pauses, the perfectly timed questions, the moments where she steps back just to see if you'll step forward. If you do not know they are happening, you have already lost. Because every response you give, in your tone, in your posture, in how quickly you fold, feeds into the story she is building about you. And once that story changes from "this man leads" to "this man follows," attraction does not just fade, it dies. Today, I am going to pull back the curtain. I am going to show you the 5 silent surgical tests every high-value woman uses, and the exact way to pass each one. Tests designed not to destroy you, but to decide if you are worthy of following her into her most vulnerable space: surrender. And here is the part you need burned into your mind. If you fail even one of these tests, you do not just lose her attention, you lose her respect. And once respect is gone, nothing else matters. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both." To most men, that sounds harsh, almost cruel. But to a strategist, it's a simple truth about human nature. Love without respect is fragile, and respect without strength is impossible. In politics, this principle determined who ruled kingdoms and who was executed in the town square. In relationships, it determines whether she follows your lead, or quietly takes control without you even noticing. The reality is this: in her mind, you are either the leader of the dynamic or you are following her lead. There is no neutral ground, and she is constantly looking for evidence of which one you are. That evidence is what I call your frame. Frame is the invisible architecture of your presence. It's the unspoken rules, boundaries, and energy you bring into every interaction. It's how you hold yourself when challenged, how you respond when tested, and how you enforce the order of your own life. Frame isn't what you say. It's the silent gravity that either pulls her into your world or orbits you around hers. This is why passing her tests isn't about winning arguments or making her like you more. It's about proving, over and over, that your frame cannot be bent by charm, temptation, provocation, or withdrawal. A strong frame makes her feel safe in your leadership. A weak frame makes her feel she must lead herself. And the moment she feels that, the dynamic shifts permanently. The problem is that these moments don't happen in grand speeches or public displays. They happen in seconds. They're subtle, invisible. A flicker in her tone, a change in her eyes, a perfectly timed request. She's not doing it to play games. She's doing it because, at the deepest biological level, she needs to know: can you hold the ship steady when the waves rise? And here's where Machiavelli's wisdom becomes essential. He understood that power is never just about action, it's about perception. A ruler didn't need to fight every battle. He needed to project an image so immovable that enemies thought twice before testing him. In the same way, a man in a relationship doesn't need to confront every challenge. He needs to carry himself in a way that makes her believe, beyond doubt, that his mission, his identity, and his focus cannot be rearranged by affection or pressure. In this video, we're going to break down the silent frame tests, the hidden challenges she uses to measure whether your leadership is real or just an act. These are not random, they escalate. Each one is harder to pass than the last, because each one digs deeper into the foundation of who you are. Most men fail the first one, almost all fail the second. By the third, they've given away their authority completely without even realizing it. But you won't, because I'm going to walk you through all 5, exactly what they look like, exactly why she's using them, and exactly how to pass every single one with calm, unshakable authority. Fail once, and it's over. Pass them all, and she will never forget the man who could not be moved. You are locked in, focused. The world around you fades as your mind sharpens on the task in front of you. Maybe it's a major project for work. Maybe it's a physical challenge, a financial goal, a mission only you fully understand. Your posture is steady, your breathing controlled, every ounce of your energy flowing in one direction. That's when she appears, not loudly, not rudely. She leans on the doorframe, soft smile in place, eyes warm. "Hey, can you do me a quick favor?" It sounds harmless. "Carry something upstairs, look over a message, make a quick call." She did not ask when you were idle. She didn't ask when you were scrolling through your phone earlier. She's asking now, in this exact moment when you're at maximum focus. And that timing is not an accident. You see, in the world of power, whether it's a political court or a relationship, attention is currency. Whoever controls where your attention flows controls the outcomes you create. Machiavelli knew this. Leaders who let their focus be hijacked lost more than time. They lost authority. Evolution built this into her instincts. A man in deep focus signals leadership. In ancient tribes, the hunter with unbroken attention brought home the kill. The leader who guarded his focus guarded the tribe's survival. Women, consciously or not, are still reading this signal today. So, when she interrupts you, it's not about the favor. It's a silent frame test. Does your mission have more gravity than her request? Can she trust you to hold the wheel steady when it matters most? The average man smiles, shuts his laptop, stands up immediately. "Of course, babe." He tells himself it's love, partnership, being a good man. But here's what actually happened. He abandoned his mission for her whim. Not because it was urgent, not because lives depended on it, but because he wanted to please her in the moment. In her subconscious, that registers as a collapse, not affection, not admiration, collapse. She now knows that her voice, her timing, her smallest request can pull you off course. And if you can be pulled off course by a smile and a question, how will you handle real pressure? How will you hold the frame when the storm hits? You've just told her, without words, that your priorities are negotiable, that your identity can be rearranged by anyone you don't want to disappoint. The moment that belief sets in, respect begins to erode. And once respect starts slipping, attraction follows. Now, picture the opposite. She leans on the table, makes the same request. You don't flinch. Your posture stays the same, your tone steady. You meet her gaze with calm authority. "I'll help you in 10 minutes. I'm focused right now." No apology, no guilt, no over-explanation, just the truth. In that moment, you've communicated something few men ever do. I govern my world, my time, my attention, my mission. They flow from a center that cannot be hijacked by affection or demand. You're not cold, you're not dismissive, you're simply immovable when it matters. And that firmness is magnetic. She may feel a flicker of annoyance at first, maybe even confusion, but beneath both lies a deeper, older instinct, respect. You've shown her that her beauty, charm, and timing cannot knock you off your path. And paradoxically, that makes her feel safer, not less important. When you hold a frame here, you're proving more than discipline. You're proving emotional leadership. You're showing her that you are a man who protects his own focus, and by extension, can protect the focus of those who follow him. Machiavelli would call this preserving command, because the moment you let someone else dictate your direction, you are no longer the captain, you're crew. By choosing your mission over momentary compliance, you pass the test. You signal that your kingdom, Your time, your mind, your energy is ruled by you alone. And in the silent language of attraction, that's the difference between being a man she trusts to lead and a man she quietly begins to lead herself. This is just the first of the 5 silent frame tests, and already you can see why most men fail without ever realizing they were being tested. The requests seem small, the timing seems innocent, but the stakes are enormous. Fail here, and every other test gets harder. Pass here, and you set the tone for everything that follows. The night is smooth. You're out together, maybe at a bar, a friend's dinner party, or just sitting on the couch scrolling through something funny. The air feels light, the rhythm between you easy. And then, without warning, she drops it. A name. I used to talk to a guy like that. She doesn't elaborate, she doesn't lock eyes, she just lets the words hang in the air like smoke from a match. This is not small talk. This is a silent frame test, one of the oldest in the book. Jealousy isn't just an emotion, it's a hierarchy alarm. In the ancient world, if another man's presence could shake you, it meant your position wasn't secure. And in the modern world, that reflex is still wired deep. Women instinctively know this, and they use it to see if the man they're with holds emotional sovereignty, or if his sense of worth still hangs on her exclusivity. The test isn't about the other guy, it's about you. Do you lead from your own internal compass, or are you scanning the horizon for threats? Can you stay in control when the ghost of another man drifts through the room? Most men take the bait immediately. The shoulders tense. The tone shifts. The questions start. Oh yeah? Who was he? What happened with you two? They try to sound casual, but the tremor is there. A subtle tightening in the voice, a slight squint in the eyes. The air changes. In her mind, she's no longer looking at a leader. She's looking at a man who can be emotionally hijacked by shadows. A man whose state depends on knowing he's the only one. A man who needs reassurance to feel secure. The irony? The more he digs, the less secure he feels. And the less secure he appears. The frame collapses. Without realizing it, he's handed her the pen to write the story. And she's just learned that she can disrupt his presence anytime she chooses. The high-value man reacts differently. She drops the name. He doesn't flinch, doesn't shift posture, doesn't let his voice spike or his expression betray even a ripple. Instead, he smirks, sips his drink, and says something like, "Poor guy. Bet he still thinks about you." And then, he changes the subject. Or goes right back to what he was doing. This is not fake aloofness. It's authentic indifference. The kind that comes from knowing exactly who you are and refusing to compete with ghosts. You're the present. You're the standard. You don't need to interrogate her history to feel in command of the present moment. In Machiavellian terms, this is maintaining state. Your emotional gravity remains fixed no matter what variable she throws at you. When you pass this test, something unexpected happens. Instead of satisfying her curiosity about your weakness, you create a different curiosity about your strength. Why didn't you bite? Why weren't you jealous? Was it confidence? Disinterest? Something else entirely? Now she's the one replaying the moment in her mind. She's the one wondering what you're thinking. She's the one suddenly chasing reassurance. From you. The dynamic flips. She's no longer the examiner. She's the one seeking approval, trying to earn back the emotional ground she just lost. And in that shift, respect deepens. Attraction sharpens. I do not compete with ghosts. That's the line you live by here. Not because you're cold, not because you don't care, but because you understand that engaging with the past is the fastest way to lose the present. Machiavelli knew that leaders didn't waste resources fighting invisible enemies. They projected certainty and let that certainty do the work. In relationships, your certainty is your frame, and your frame tells her, without a single speech, whether she's safe to follow your lead or whether she needs to take the wheel herself. This is only the second test, and already you've seen how subtle the battlefield can be. It's not the obvious fights that decide the outcome, it's the invisible ones. Pass here, and she will never forget that her past doesn't shake you. Fail. And you'll spend the rest of the relationship trying to rebuild a throne you gave away with a single question. It starts quietly. No confrontation, no warning, just space. Her messages take longer to arrive. Her replies shrink from sentences to single words. The emojis disappear, the warmth fades. You scroll back through your last few exchanges, trying to figure out what changed. Was it something you said? Something you didn't say? This is not random. This is a silent frame test. And it's one of the most dangerous, because it's entirely nonverbal. In the ancient world, withdrawal was a signal of recalibration. In a tribe, if someone pulled away, it meant resources, energy, and loyalty were being reassessed. Today, the same instinct plays out in relationships. When she pulls back, she's not always punishing you. More often, she's observing you. She's creating a gap in the connection to see what you fill it with. Will you rush to close it? Will you panic? Or will you hold your ground, calm and composed? This is where many men fail. Not because they're bad people, but because they're wired to close emotional distance as soon as they feel it. That impulse gives her all the information she needs about your dependency level. The weak man reacts immediately. He senses the shift and starts overcompensating. Rapid-fire texts, double messages, long calls, endless check-ins. Are you okay? Did I do something wrong? Please don't ignore me. Every word is a flare gun of insecurity, signaling, my sense of stability depends on you. In her subconscious, the verdict is instant. This man doesn't lead himself. He's tethered to her moods. His emotional state can be rewritten with a single act of silence. And that, to her instincts, means she cannot fully trust his leadership. The frame collapses. Respect drains. And the connection, even if it's not over immediately, is now on a countdown. The high-value man reacts differently. He notices the shift, and instead of chasing, he doubles down on himself. No frantic texts, no desperate explanations, no emotional collapse. Instead, he invests his energy back into his mission. His focus on his goals becomes sharper. He spends more time in his own world, with his own circle, creating momentum she can't control. When he does reach out, it's short, steady, and unshaken. I'm here when you're ready. 7 words, no pressure, no fear, no emotional debt. This isn't punishment, it's self-governance. It sends one message. My world doesn't pause when you pull back. Here's where this test flips on its head. When you remain grounded in her absence, you turn the withdrawal into a mirror. Instead of revealing your instability, it reveals your stability. Now she's the one left with questions. Why didn't he chase? Why is he still so calm? What is he doing right now? The ambiguity she created to test you becomes a trap she set for herself, a loop of curiosity she can't escape. And curiosity is a seed that grows into pursuit. She pulled back expecting to see cracks in your frame. Instead, she sees stone. And for a woman wired to respect strength, that's magnetic. Machiavelli wrote, "Power is preserved by autonomy, not affection." In statecraft, this meant a ruler who clung to alliances at the cost of his independence eventually fell. In relationships, it means a man who clings to constant reassurance will lose both the reassurance and the respect. Your autonomy, your ability to stand alone in the gap is what keeps the dynamic in balance. It tells her that you are not sustained by her mood, her presence, or her approval. You welcome them, but you don't depend on them. That truth is rare, and rare is valuable. The withdrawal gambit is one of the most subtle, most misunderstood of the silent frame tests. It's not about coldness, it's about proving, without saying a word, that your identity is not for sale to anyone's emotions. Pass it, and she starts chasing the stability she can't create herself. Fail it, and you'll spend the rest of the relationship chasing the warmth you gave away the moment you surrendered your center. The room is alive. Laughter, conversation, the hum of social energy. You're with friends, maybe at a dinner table, a party, or just a casual group hangout. Drinks in hand, stories flowing, you're in your element, and then it happens. She turns to you, smile on her lips, but with that glint in her eye, and drops a comment. Maybe it's a playful jab at something you've done. Maybe it's a light critique of a decision you made. It's not cruel, not aggressive, but everyone heard it. In that moment, she's not just talking to you. She's inviting the room to see how you handle pressure. From an evolutionary standpoint, public displays of strength or weakness directly affected survival. In a tribe, The man who held his position in front of others became a leader. The one who faltered lost influence, sometimes permanently. This instinct still operates today. When she teases or questions you in front of others, it's not always conscious malice. Often it's an ancient instinct kicking in. Can this man keep his composure when the group's eyes are on him? If you pass, her attraction sharpens. If you fail, it dulls, not just for her, but for anyone watching. The weak man takes the jab personally. He laughs nervously, looks down, and tries to smooth things over. "Oh, yeah, well, you know me," he mutters, scrambling to explain or justify. Or worse, he overreacts, defensive tone, sharp comeback that feels bitter, or too much energy in trying to win the moment. Either way, the effect is the same. The room feels his insecurity. His frame cracks under the spotlight. In her mind, the test is answered. He can hold himself when it's just them, but not when there's an audience. And for a woman wired to follow strength, that's a problem. The high-value man stays cool. He keeps eye contact. A slow smile spreads, confident, easy. He doesn't rush to explain or defend. Maybe he gives a playful, self-assured reply. "I prefer making my own mistakes." Or, "That's one way to see it. I have another." The delivery is light, not heavy. The tone is calm, not defensive. In that moment, he reclaims the frame without aggression, proving he can handle light social fire without losing control. The group sees it. She feels it. The test is passed. Frame control in private earns her respect. Frame control in public earns everyone's respect. When you handle a public challenge with composure and charm, you create a social echo. The room now sees you as someone who doesn't get rattled under pressure. That impression sticks, with friends, acquaintances, even strangers. For her, this is more than attraction. It's reassurance. She now knows she can bring you into any social setting, and you'll hold your position without her needing to protect or defend you. Machiavelli understood that a ruler's image mattered as much as, sometimes more than, his actual power. In the court of public opinion, perception is reality. Your response to the public challenge sends a signal. I can take a hit without losing my crown. And that's a message that both allies and challengers remember. In relationships, it tells her, my value doesn't shrink under pressure. My frame is mine, in every arena. The public challenge is one of the fastest ways to either lose or lock in long-term respect. Fail it, and you'll find yourself defending your image for months. Pass it, and you'll find people, not just her, giving you the kind of social room only granted to those who have proven they can stand without flinching. It's late. The room is quiet. She looks at you differently. Not with challenge, but with curiosity. You seem different lately. Are you really okay? No audience, no sharp edge in her voice. This isn't a jab. It's a hand extended into your inner world. And make no mistake, this too is a silent frame test. Evolution wired women to seek not just strength, but trustworthiness. Physical dominance alone doesn't guarantee loyalty or stability. Emotional resilience does. When she asks a question like this, she's not only checking your state, she's checking if your openness can coexist with your strength. Can you reveal something real without collapsing into neediness? Can you be both fortress and garden? A man who is impenetrable emotionally may be respected, but he won't inspire deep connection. A man who is overly exposed may inspire connection, but loses the respect that fuels attraction. She's searching for the rare combination, the one Machiavelli would call command through perception. There are two ways to fail this test. The first is shutdown. You brush it off. I'm fine. Your eyes harden, your posture closes, you send the message. This part of me is off limits. She registers this as fear of exposure, fear of intimacy. You've just told her that you cannot open the gates without losing control. The second is over-disclosure. You spill everything, every worry, every frustration, every unresolved fear, seeking comfort, validation, or rescue. You hand her the weight of your emotional world without boundaries, and in doing so, you shift the dynamic. She's no longer following your lead. She's stabilizing you. In both cases, the frame is gone. In shutdown, you appear emotionally unavailable. In over-disclosure, you appear emotionally dependent. Neither inspires the balance of trust and desire she's looking for. The high-value man passes this test with precision. He doesn't dodge the question. and he doesn't hand over his entire fortress key. Instead, he selects a piece of the truth and presents it with calm, measured control. I've been thinking through a few challenges, but I'm focused on solutions. Or, sometimes I get tired, but it doesn't change what I'm building. The content is real, not a performance, but it's framed in strength. You're not asking her to fix you. You're inviting her into your world without giving up the throne. In this moment, you're saying, I can let you see me without letting go of myself. Controlled vulnerability is intoxicating because it's so rare. Most men default to extremes, total walls or total collapse. When you can show her that you feel without being ruled by those feelings, you create a powerful paradox. You're human, yet unshakable. She senses safety in that balance. She can lean in without fearing that her trust will make you weak, and she can admire you without feeling like you're a stone statue she can never touch. This dynamic, strength wrapped in openness, is what turns attraction into loyalty. Machiavelli wrote, "The prince must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." The vulnerability check is where you must be both. The fox, discerning exactly how much to reveal and how to frame it. The lion, maintaining the unspoken message that no matter what you feel, you remain in command of yourself. True power lies in mastering the perception of self. When she sees that you can acknowledge your humanity without surrendering your leadership, she understands she's with a man who governs his own kingdom, inside and out. Passing this final test doesn't just earn her respect, it earns her trust, because in her mind, you've proven you can hold not only your own emotions, but hers as well. You're not a man she has to lead, heal, or protect from himself. You're a man she can follow, not out of obligation, but out of desire. 5 tests. 5 moments where most men lose their frame without even knowing they were in a contest. 5 chances for her to decide whether you're the man she can follow, or the man she'll eventually have to lead. The distraction trap. She interrupts you at peak focus to see if her presence can pull you off your mission. Passing means your goals outrank her whims. The jealousy probe. She drops another man's name to measure your emotional sovereignty. Passing means you do not compete with ghosts. The withdrawal gambit. She pulls back to see if you'll chase. Passing means your identity is self-sustaining, not dependent on her attention. The yes public challenge. She tests you in front of others to watch your social composure. Passing means you can take a hit without losing your crown. The vulnerability check. She asks for a glimpse of your inner world to see if strength and openness can coexist. Passing means you can open the gates without giving away the throne. Understand this. These are not punishments. They are not games. They are invitations. Invitations to prove that your leadership isn't situational. It's who you are at the core. Each test is her way of asking, can I trust you? Can I follow you without fear that you'll fold under pressure? Failing shows her you need her approval to stay upright. Passing shows her you can hold the frame for both of you when it matters most. Machiavelli knew that a ruler who could not govern himself would never govern a state. The same is true here. Self-command is the foundation of every other command. When you govern your attention, your emotions, your reactions, you govern the dynamic. You stop playing defense and start setting the terms of engagement, not by force, but by the unshakable gravity of your presence. When you pass all 5 silent frame tests, something shifts. She stops testing to see if you're real. She starts leaning into the reality you've already proven. You move from evaluated to trusted, from tested to untouchable. And here's the truth. When you pass her tests, you're not just winning her, you're winning yourself. You've become the man who can't be moved by distraction, jealousy, absence, public pressure, or emotional exposure. And when you can't be moved by those, there's very little in life that can move you at all. That's power, that's legacy. And that's the point where respect becomes devotion and attraction becomes loyalty. You've just seen the 5 silent frame tests that decide whether you're a man she respects or a man she quietly starts to lead. And now you know exactly how to pass them. But here's the thing. Passing her tests is only the first level, because once she knows you can't be moved, the game changes. The challenges get more subtle, the stakes get higher, and the power dynamics shift in ways most men never even notice until it's too late. If you've been tested before, and you failed, you know how hard it is to win back lost ground. And if you've passed, you know how quickly the respect you've earned can vanish if you let your guard down. So, the real question is, once you've proven your strength, how do you keep it? How do you lead without breaking, even when the tests become invisible? That's exactly what we're covering in the next lesson, the Machiavellian strategy for keeping power once you've claimed it. If you're ready to lead without breaking, subscribe now. Don't miss the next video, because the moment you think you've won is the moment you're most likely to lose everything.